Back for some more street interviews today. I thought I'd record a short introduction to what you're about to see. I got the idea for this particular street interview from watching some interviews by Banana Warrior Princess. I'm going to link to her channel in the description below, her YouTube channel. I showed everybody an image today. I'm going to flash the image on the screen right here. It's a really creative cartoon by VEGANS Sidekick, vegansidekick.com. I'm going to also put that in the show notes below. Yeah, his stuff is really great. I think it's really poignant. And we're asking people what they think about this particular image. So today I edited together 3 separate interviews that I did. Let me know if you like this kind of video editing style. I can kind of sharpen my skills. Yeah, I hope you enjoy. Thanks. This is going to be really simple. I'm just going to show you an image that I have here in my folder. And I want you guys to just look at it and basically respond to what you think maybe the image means or what it means to you. Fair?
The kid does not actually love animals.
It seems kind of hypocritical where he says he loves animals, but around him are all slaughtered animals besides a dog.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it's some level of ignorance between like his domesticated pet and then what he doesn't see around him, but like in the farms and what's going on, and like his impact that he doesn't notice just because like it doesn't matter to him or whatever.
Do you guys think that this is something that applies to a lot of people, like this image, or is it just like maybe just this one guy, or like how do you guys think this applies to you maybe in your lives?
Okay, I definitely feel like on the I see like the vegansidekick.com and I realize like how like beneficial it would be for like the world to go vegan or the world to go vegetarian, and people that are vegetarian, I definitely feel that they're doing a great job, and I can really honor that. But like for me, I feel like I just like don't have the willpower to give up meat because it's something I've grown up with.
Yeah, so there's some historical precedents for it, right? I mean, your parents probably ate meat, and their parents probably ate meat, and so it's been kind of going on for a long, long time. But there's a few people, right, like vegetarians and vegans that choose not to eat meat, right? And so in your idea, like how does a vegan or a vegetarian maybe make the world a better place? Like, have you guys thought about that at all?
Well, it's kind of interesting because back then, I guess, like historically, it was a lot harder to get food. And of course, animals are like a big source of food. But now that food has become so much more readily accessible through agriculture, it's interesting that maybe we'll see a culture shift and that more people going vegetarian, since now it's so much more accessible and we don't rely on meat as heavily for our primary food source. So I could see that definitely happening.
An animal lover? Yeah, okay, definitely an animal lover. There's fish, there's numerous animals. He looks very young, the guy in the photo. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Great. Do you think there's any other message behind this image? He says he loves animals. What's he holding in his hand there?
A knife. Yeah, a knife. I wonder why.
Well, seems like he loves them, but not in the right way.
He likes the animals that he knows, so it's like, oh, I like the dogs because I know them, but I don't care about the other ones because we haven't domesticated them.
Vegetarian kind of concept.
Yeah.
Or supportive, like vegetarianism.
Mm-hmm.
Are either of you vegetarian or vegan?
I'm vegetarian.
Yeah.
Great. Are you familiar with the term vegan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have either of you ever considered going vegan?
No.
Sometimes, but I don't know.
What is it about veganism that you think is challenging, or do you think anything else about this image before we kind of go on to the next topic?
I think it's hard to find, like, if you like have dinner with your family or at like restaurants, find like food that's like accommodating for it. Sometimes
It's more expensive, I think. Well, I don't know. That's just what I think. But it's, at least in college, it's pretty easy to buy cheap things that aren't vegan. So just an easier way.
Yeah, I was vegetarian from the age of like 20 to 26, like during my college years, and I found it. I don't know, like eating in the school cafeteria was pretty easy as a vegetarian. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. Just being vegan, like, I think it's, at least for me, it's harder to like get the nutrients you need. A lot of times, like, you get a lot of protein from dairy products, so it's hard to find the protein.
Yeah.
Yeah. So besides protein, are there maybe any other nutrients you'd be worried about as a vegan?
I mean, as a vegetarian, iron's pretty hard to find too, but I don't know. I don't know too much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been vegan for about 3 years now, and I did it like after seeing images like these. Really kind of woke me up to the idea that the animals suffer and maybe don't want to die, right? Like, what do you think that the dog in that picture thinks about the person?
Well, if it's attached to it, then it likes it, but I guess if it's seeing it killing all the other animals, I'm not sure how it feels.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And what would you think that the other animals, like the cow and the chicken and the pig and the fish, what do you think that they think about humans or the human in that picture?
Like, what makes the dog any different than us? That kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Playing favorites.
I've been vegan for just like a little over 3 years now, and it was because of seeing images like this that really made me think about, well, yeah, I do love my dog, right? My dog is like part of my family, and why do I love some animals but choose to kill and eat others? Are you guys familiar with the term speciesism?
No.
So speciesism is a term similar to like racism or sexism, where it says that we are going to discriminate against others because they're from a different species, right? So in the case of sexism, we say one sex is better than another, right? Or in the case of racism, we say one race is dominant over another. And that justifies us exploiting the other, right? So in a male-dominated world, males exploit females. In a white-dominated world, whites dominate and exploit people of color, right? So in a speciesist world, we say that humans define themselves as the dominant species, and all other species we are able to subjugate, power and exploit them. So what do you guys think about that term speciesism, and does that apply to you?
I don't know. As soon as you said that, and in the context of food, I was sort of thinking just sort of like on a food chain level, like how maybe like snakes eat mice, and like if snakes are like eating all the mice, then does that necessarily make them dominant to the other ones? So in the context of humans eating other animals, is that necessarily us saying that we're more dominant than them? Is that what you're trying to imply, that we're saying by eating meat that we're more dominant than other species?
Yeah, that's a really great point. What we're talking about is the difference between humans, perhaps, and obligate carnivores in the wild. So my question would be, what happens to the snake if it doesn't eat the mouse?
It starves.
Exactly, it starves to death, right? So this is a survival situation. Like, what happens to the lion if it doesn't eat the gazelle? It starves. What happens to humans if we don't eat animals?
We grow crops, I guess.
Exactly. In the grocery store, instead of doing this, we do that. And we just choose the other option on the shelf. So since it's not a survival situation, we don't consider that to be the same type of issue, right?
Yeah.
And also, snakes aren't like manufacturing and growing, 150 billion mice a year in a factory farm in order to kill them and eat them, right?
Yeah, of course.
Great. So this is really terrific. I mean, what I have here is some literature about veganism and about speciesism. And would you guys be willing to maybe take some of these pamphlets and maybe look at them? Maybe consider the next time you're making your meal choices, or like at least consider veganism as an option?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think a lot of us say, right? Would you say, like, do you love animals?
I do. Yeah, I like dogs. Hate cats. Yeah.
What do you think about pigs?
They serve a purpose, but they're very dirty animals.
And what purpose is that?
Well, pork, bacon, numerous other meats, pork, bacon, the cast-offs from the animal.
Exactly. And what about chickens? How do you feel about chickens in comparison to dogs?
Well, chickens serve a purpose for eggs, and you can eat chickens as they are. I eat free-range chickens in Australia. Very good, you know.
I see. Great. So, so you love dogs, right? And you say you love animals, but some of these animals, right? We eat them for food and we kill them for food, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so what do you think about this image? Do you think it's fair to say that we love animals when we maybe like love some and bring them into our home and feed them and keep them warm in the winter time and all these other things, and some other animals like we lock them up and we kill them for food? Do you think there's maybe a contradiction there or hypocrisy?
Yeah, in a sense. But when you breed things like chickens, like in Australia, in certain barns, there's 30,000 chickens. So to kill 10,000 chickens, you've still got 20,000 left. So the thing is, the minority, it doesn't make any difference. You know what I mean? You know, when you breed to that extent.
Yeah, exactly. And why do we breed those animals?
Well, you know, countries like China with a huge population, in India, you need the food. You know, China, for example, coming into Australia at the moment and buying a lot of farms, because the thing is, you haven't got the produce in China to be able to sustain it.
I see. So, so the animals that we're feeding people is maybe helping to solve a hunger problem?
Yes, in China and India, yes.
Yeah, and what do we feed these animals that we're keeping and breeding for to turn into meat?
Corn, wholemeal, certain grass products in Australia. You know, I mean, the free-range chicken range in Australia, like I said, there's 40 and 50,000 chickens, you know, in a certain area. But Australia is a big country, so you can probably sustain it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm going to just give you a little world statistic here and see what you think about it. The statistics that I've heard is that about 70% of the world's agriculture, like plant agriculture, goes to feeding livestock. And most of those, so that 70% of feed could be used to feed humans, like corn can be eaten by humans, soy could be eaten by humans. Do you think maybe that's a more efficient method of feeding the world's population?
Not really, because I think it's a contradiction, because I think the problem is with farms, like a lot of Australian farms, a lot of Canadian farms are being sold to the Chinese, so the Chinese will grow bigger, so they'll need more produce. As a bigger population, there's nearly 1 billion people in China to sustain, to feed, so you come off the land, so the land cannot sustain it over a certain length of time.
Are you familiar with the term speciesism?
Not really. Don't think so.
I mean, I can like maybe infer, but I don't know.
Yeah. So similar to racism and sexism, like in racism we say that one race is deserving of exploiting another race because they're better because of their race, right? Yeah. And in sexism it's the same thing, but using sex as the term of determination. Like one sex is better than the other, therefore it's justified to inflict violence or inflict harm on the other. Speciesism is the same thing, except it's implying that with species, right? It's saying that humans are the dominant species over all other animals, so that justifies causing harm to the others. Do you think that term applies to you personally, or applies to people in general?
A little bit. I mean, like obviously other animals kill other animals because they have to, but I mean we talked about this in my philosophy class. Like because humans have another option to eat, like they can eat vegan and still survive, that like it's like technically wrong that we're eating animals, because like we do have another option. We can like stop suffering on other living organisms, but I don't know. Yeah. If you have the options and like the money and the time to do it, I think you should. But
yeah, and in today's day and age, we have vegan cheese and vegan meat and vegan ice cream, and we have vegan restaurants, and we have vegan options and non-vegan restaurants. And on the line, you can search in vegan recipes, and there are millions upon millions of vegan recipes online, right? So, so I totally get what you're saying. Like we have the option, right? So in the grocery store, instead of grabbing the milk, we can grab the soy milk or the almond milk, or just do that with our hand and pick a more compassionate option, right? That doesn't have a body count.
Yeah, that's true.
Terrific. So would either of you ever consider going vegan now after we've like talked? Is that something you're interested in, or something you would be open to trying?
I don't know. I could see myself maybe trying in the future, but
Yeah, I have tried like a lot of vegan food, and it's like it is pretty good. And I love like non-dairy milks; they're so much better. So
What does the dog in this picture think about the human? Like if you could give the dog a speech bubble, what do you think the dog would be saying about the human right now?
Well, bad things.
What do you think the fish would be saying about the human right now?
Bad things. Because of the knife. I mean, it's a contradiction, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think that contradiction is really interesting. You know, what I'm doing out here for the street interviews is I'm actually a vegan. Do you know that word, vegan?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, you are terrific. And so vegans, we don't use any animal products at all, right? We don't eat dairy, we don't eat eggs or anything like that. So you still eat dairy and eggs?
Dairy, no. Eggs, no. On this trip, I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to lie, I have. But in Australia, I eat a lot of lentils, fish, beans, vegetables, you know, that's it.